We've been on the road for 11 days, and let me fill you in. So as you all know, we're traveling a lot. I'm in the RV alone. I'm hoping the dogs are going to cooperate. If not, I'll just stop and start over. But we haven't really seen much of anything yet. It's more been the drive out here. And we expected things to go wrong along the way. But never did I expect the things that have happened to be the things that would go wrong. So, I have my planner here. I've made some notes every day of what has transpired. And I'm going to fill you in. But from now on, there should be fun stuff for you guys to see instead of just gripes. It has been a challenging first 10 days. But I think for the most part, we're all still in good spirits. I'm the eternal optimist, so I still think it's going to be great. But I'm hoping some of this bad luck is behind us. So let's start on August 1st. On August 1st, we were traveling from Vermont to Cudbackville, New York. It was a horrific drive. We went through, we came down 84 into Connecticut, or got on 84 in Connecticut. That was the scariest, most stressful driving experience of my life. It was supposed to, by calculations, take 4 hours and 36 minutes to get there. It took almost 8. We did have to stop a few times. We had to stop and feed the dogs, take the dogs out, give Max his medicine, use the facilities. And the traffic was horrendous. The roads were horrendous. At one point, we were driving somewhere in Connecticut. I was behind the RV, and I just started yelling in my car because I was having a panic attack. I want to go home. I don't want to do this anymore. And thankfully, the panic attack passed because I was laughing so hard at how ridiculous my panic attack was. We got to the campground. There was no power, number one. So that was fun. Got that fixed. We couldn't get 2 ACs to work. That was fun because it was really hot. I said, I'm not cooking. I'm going to go to the snack bar and get food. I went down to the snack bar to get food. This is Thursday. And I said, okay, I want to order. And he said, wait. We don't have a lot of stuff. And he said, I said, what do you have? And he says, well, the fry-later's broken, which is everything on the menu. We have cheese pizza, and that's about it. I said, okay, let me just get a couple milkshakes. And then I figured we'd make sandwiches back at the RV. Oh, we don't have any ice. Ice. How do you run out of ice? It's water that you freeze. Anyway, I said, okay, forget it. He said, sorry, we were really busy over the weekend. It was Thursday. What weekend was he talking about? They hadn't gotten supplies. That was neither here nor there. We found out that we have in the back a wall that has a vanity and mirrors, and they're 2 separate pieces attached to the wall. And the mirror part had come loose, but not off. So we gorilla taped it up and decided we would figure out a way to deal with that later. That was day 1. I slept on the floor because I just wanted to keep going. After 8 hours in the car, we got there at like 7 o'clock at night. We left at like 11 in the morning. Before 11 in the morning. It was a long day. Okay, day 2. We drove to Roughsdale, Pennsylvania. It was another 8-hour travel day. There were 6 hours of driving with 2 stops. The day started great in that we could not get to the pump to fill the gas tank in the RV, which was fun. I got a call on the walkie-talkie that we needed to pull over because the air conditioning stopped working. And the wall in the back that I was talking about with the mirrors was completely down. So while we were stopped, I found a guy who could fix it for us, but he couldn't fix it till the next day, which was a Saturday. But thankfully they were open in the morning, and I said, we will be there when the doors open. I thought that was going to be the end of it. We get to the campground, and the campground is like this. It is a hill with flat-ish pads for the RVs. So it was a challenge leveling the camper. But that wasn't all that happened. Our slides operate on like an ignition mechanism with keys. The slide is next to the wall that had the mirrors on it. When the wall fell down, thankfully onto the bed, it broke the key off in the ignition, making it impossible to open the backslide. We were convinced we were headed home. What else happened? We just had sandwiches that night and went to bed and decided we were getting up at 7 o'clock and we were leaving. We're getting out of there. We were going to the repair shop. I have to check my text messages because Kristen's out with her dad. Okay, day 3. We're up bright and early. We pack up. Everything's going swimmingly. We get to the RV place, which is Kay's RV. Highly recommend. And we thought it was over with the key in the wall and air conditioning. The air conditioner worked on shore power. It didn't work on the generator. Turns out it was a simple switch on the generator, and that was back and going, no problem. The guy at Kay's RV said, I think he can definitely reattach the wall. He doesn't know. He'll try to fix the slide. He said, I don't have a key, I know that. And we said, is there anything you can do? And he put a rocker switch on, which is so much better. And we were out of there in an hour and a half. I was just blown away. It was great. It was a nice, easy drive. We only drove for... we drove for 5 hours, but it was an easy drive. The camp setup was really easy. We stayed at where did we stay? The Richmond KOA in Richmond, Indiana. It was beautiful. It was quiet. It was clean. We all showered. The showers there were nice and clean, nice and hot, big. It was a great campground, really great campground. I snuck out to Myers because every 3 days I'm going to the store to pick up what we need. We needed a carbon monoxide detector because we couldn't figure out how to get the battery out of the one we had. We needed water because we're only using bottled water because water is really not great a lot of places. So we're using bottled water. Got some food. We had hot dogs for dinner. We stayed up, I think, till 10 o'clock, which was the latest we stayed up. It was great, and we were still in Eastern time zone. We looked at the schedule, and I did some recalculating on the times and found out that some of the times were wrong. And the next day was one of those days, but it was in our favor, which was nice. So, all in all, a good trip, and we decided that on the way back, that is the campground that we're going to stop at again. It was just so nice. It was so nice. On the 4th, hold on, day 4, we drove about 3 hours. We didn't even have to stop on the way for anybody, and we ended up in Casey, Illinois, at the Casey KOA. We are only staying at KOAs. I'm not sure if I mentioned that, just because we can have all 4 dogs. It was a nice short drive. It was a beautiful campground, very well kept. However, the owners were or the hosts, I think they call them, were extremely gruff. they were just unpleasant. They weren't nasty, but they just didn't have a pleasant demeanor. Yeah. When we got there, they put us on a site, and we couldn't set up right away because they had to replace the water pump, which is not really a big deal. But it's left a bad taste about the whole campground. We decided we won't be going back there. The campground was situated literally, you get off the interstate into a cornfield, you turn right between two cornfields, and then you turn left into literally a cornfield on a dirt road, and you turn left into the campground, and you drive into the cornfield, and there's a campground in the middle of the cornfield. It was pretty neat. We went for a swim. We got takeout Dairy Queen for dinner. And Kristen and I went into town because it is the home of a bunch of these world's largest things. One of them is knitting needles. One of them is a rocking chair. I'll put in a few pictures here if you'd like to see them. It was pretty interesting and fun, and we had a pretty good time. It was nice to actually do something other than just sit in the RV, which is not sit in the RV, but there hadn't been any attractions yet to do. So that was a good day, and nothing went wrong. On the 5th of August, we drove from Casey, Illinois to North Utica, Illinois, to the LaSalle Peru KOA. Very nice KOA, very nice people. It was really like a no frills place, but it was pretty. It wasn't a no frills place. I'm not sure why I said that, but the owners were extremely nice and helpful. We had an issue with our electric where they needed to replace their outlet, so we had to get an adapter. They let us use the adapter rather than buy it because it was their issue, and just marked that they needed to replace the outlet after we left. It was really nice. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes. It was a pretty low-key day. It was nice. And in the evening, I went to, where did I go? Starved Rock Lodge to meet Amy Ming Mao. She used to do knitting videos, like show and tell videos. I don't know if she called herself a podcast or whatnot. But it was nice. We had a nice dinner in a really beautiful restaurant. We sat outside, looked over the park. It was very nice. Again, I will insert a couple pictures here of my time there. And all in all, it was a good time. I had a taco salad. It was to die for. It was really good. And she tried very hard to get me to eat cheese curds. So did the waitress. They did not succeed. On day 6, we traveled to DeForest, Wisconsin, and stayed at the Madison KOA. Again, another nice KOA. It was more of a parking lot style, and it was close to an airport, but it was relatively quiet. We were lucky. We were there for 2 nights. First time we were anywhere for 2 nights. Not much to say about it. Kristen and I later in the day took a swim. It was pretty quiet. On the 7th, I went into Madison because I needed to get some dog food for Tom, and I needed to go to Walmart to pick up what we needed for supplies. So I did that, and then I did laundry, which took forever, and it was so hot. It was so hot. But then we sat outside with everybody for a little bit, and it was a pretty uneventful and quiet night. We tried this place called Culver's. We were not impressed. Kristen said it was a step below McDonald's. It was not very good. It was not, in our opinion. Maybe it was just the one that we stayed at. So, no issues there either. Doing pretty good. On August 8th, we traveled for 4 hours about to Hayward, Minnesota. Let me tell you, Minnesota has the best welcome to my state sign of any state we've gone into so far. In fact, I'll put a picture in here for you to see. There was a lot of construction in Minnesota, but it was fine. It took us, like I said, about 4 hours. When we got there, it was quite cool, which was nice. We were able to sit outside with the dogs. Once the bugs got the better of Kristen, she went inside. Motorcycles. She went inside, and Dewey and I sat outside, and we looked out over this farm field and knit for a while, and it was beautiful. It was cool. I stayed outside until I couldn't see my stitches anymore. We just had hot dogs on the grill for dinner. It was delicious. There's Molly. But the next morning, things took a bit of a turn. August 9th. We were not quite getting ready to pack up, and I was sitting on the couch behind me, and I feel drip, drip down my forehead. And I look up, and there's discoloration above me and water dripping, not fast. I put my hand there, my whole hand comes back wet. It was bad. So we decided to pull the slide in and pack up, and move on to our next destination, which was about 3 hours away. That was Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Kristen got up on the roof when we got to Sioux Falls. She cleaned out the gutters. Didn't do anything. The condensation from the air conditioner was running off, and there's a hole in the awning somewhere, and it was dripping into the house, well, the RV. We went a few times to Camping World to try and find supplies, which thankfully was right next door. Find things that we could fix it with. To no avail. She did patch a spot on the roof that needed to be patched, which was great. But we were not able to fix the pooling water on the awning and the slide, which is where I'm sitting right now. So I checked the weather, and we were under a flood warning and expecting 1 to 3 inches of torrential rain overnight. There was nothing we could do at that point, so we pulled this slide in, and with this slide in, there's not enough room for all 3 big dogs, and 3 humans. So Kristen and I ended up at a hotel for the night, and Tom stayed in the RV. He wanted to. We did offer to get him a hotel room too, but he wanted to stay in the RV. So we went to the Residence Inn, turned on the television, tornado warnings. In fact, they had evacuated the Sioux Falls Fair, which is big. It's like, I'm assuming it's similar to a state fair, if not a state fair. They had evacuated the fair because it was so bad. The thunder and lightning was like nothing I have seen before. Since then I've seen. So I was glad that we had evacuated, but we were a little nervous about Tom being alone with the weather. So we just turned in and waited for Saturday. On Saturday the 10th, we were back at the campground by 8 o'clock, packing up and moving on to the next stop. We actually stopped along the way. We thought we were going to have to replace the actual awning. We found a place along the way. I can't remember the name of it. Kristen has it in her blog of the trip. And they said, oh, you can caulk right here, and this is the caulk that you need. So that was great. So we grabbed that. We didn't have to replace the awning on the slide, which is a major repair. We continued on our way. Did pretty well. I had to stop a bunch of times because I was tired. I don't know why I was so tired. Yeah. Kristen got up on the RV again, And as soon as she did, the sky turned black, and it was like a race against the clock to get that caulk down, because there was there was thunder in the distance, and we thought it was going to downpour anytime. Thankfully, she got down and it didn't rain that little bit past us. I grilled some steak tips for dinner, some veggies, and we had a nice dinner. And as that happened, the heavens opened up, and I wish I could have gotten this on video, but it was so scary. Heavens opened up, thunder, lightning, close lightning. We had our awning out because when we got here we were in full sun. They scrambled out to get the awning. The awning was blowing all over the place. I thought it was going to rip off the RV. Kristen at one point got thrown back by the awning. I thought she was going to be knocked out. There was a lightning bolt that came down feet away from Tom. It was scary, but they got it in, and it doesn't appear to be damaged, so we dodged that bullet. And we didn't leak, which is great. So that seems to have, the caulking job she did seems to have plugged wherever we were leaking. She's going to go back up today and do a second layer of caulk just to be sure. And yeah, and now it's the 11th, and my plan is from now on to fill you in when we get to somewhere fun, because there's a lot more fun places we're going now. It's a lot less one night here, one night there times, and you can see what we're up to. Hopefully. We'll see. Nothing on this trip has gone the way I expected. I really thought, and I shouldn't even say this out loud, my fear going into this trip was that we would break down. Not that a wall was going to fall off, and that a key was going to get broken off in the lock, and that, I mean, I thought, I guess I knew that we could have leaks, but the things that have happened so far are not the things I thought would happen. But we're having a pretty good time so far. I'm in a good mood. I'm knitting a lot. However, I forgot darning needles, so tonight I'm going to the store. I need to get some darning needles so I can get some things off the needles and some more things on the needles. And just gonna try and continue to have a great time. So that's all for now. Stay tuned, and you can see hopefully what we're doing. All right, bye guys.